it's Lex here, and today I'm joined by Mike from Summerbruise. How are you today? How's it going?
I'm doing just fine. Playing a show tonight that I wasn't really sure we were playing until this morning, but excited to do that. I was gonna go anyway, so
Oh,
excited to play.
well, that's awesome. So, first of all, just thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your time. I know you guys are probably busy, but we're basically just here to kind of hang out and chat for a bit, especially talk about your latest album, Infinity Guise, which came out September 19th. And I love it. I've been listening
Awesome.
to it ever since I got first contacted about this, and it's amazing. But before I get into Infinity Guys, I guess I just kind of want to talk about how did you get your start? How did music come to be for you, and how did it lead you to forming a band?
Um, Music, my has definitely always been like a big part of my life. My dad was a musician, so I just like grew up with instruments in the house, and he was really like cool and supportive about like letting me handle whatever with my like grubby kid hands. Like he was just really like interested in letting me play music, but didn't like push it on me either. And I just got really into it. It's and I played drums when I was a kid, and then I played drums in a band in like middle school and high school, like my freshman year. But then for like most of my high school and college times, I was like turbo normie. Like I didn't go to shows, I didn't play any music. Like I just like completely like compartmentalized that part of my life. And then a couple of years after I graduated college was when I got into a bunch of like DIY bands and started writing songs and started Summerbruise. And so that was like 2015 or so. Um, and yeah, so I started Summerbruise with my friend Castle in 2016, who I'd known since I was a kid. And then in like 2018, he moved to Chicago and left the band, and we had a bunch of just like semi-permanent fill-ins, kind of in and out, like a rotating cast until Stanley had been around for so long that it just became clear that she was like the second member of the band. So we were rocking as a two-piece for like 3 or 4 years after that. And then that's when Cora and John, and then like a year later, Mitch joined, and now there's a whole gang of us.
Yeah, the gang's all here. That's great. And if you're cool with like sharing this, I love finding out origins of like band names. So how did you come up with Summer Brews?
It's a fictional band from a book by a friend of mine, Soft by Ryan Werner. It's like a little like
Oh,
novella,
okay.
really funny book about this guy who was in a band that was like kind of like hot shit in the 90s, but then sort of washed up now, and he needs to pay off all this debt. So he's like trying to get the band back together, but it's like for very cynical reasons, and he's got all these
Yeah.
like complicated relationships with these people he doesn't get along with. It's a very funny book, but the band is called the Summerbruise. So when we were
Okay.
starting the band, I just hit up my friend Ryan on Facebook and asked if we could use the band name, and he gave
Of
us his
course he was
blessing.
cool with it. That's awesome. I love that. So I guess we can get into Infinity, guys. Um, and like I said, this is a great record.
Thank you.
Um, my original plan for this video actually was I'm also being sent a vinyl copy, but it's not here yet. I don't have it. So I was gonna have like a big reveal and like show
Oh,
everyone the vinyl copy in here and everything, but I will do that on my page at a later date. So
awesome.
it will still happen. It just
You're
didn't
probably gonna
happen
get yours
today.
before I get mine. I'm still waiting.
Really? Well, I mean, it is still kind of a fresh album, so I mean,
Bill's a busy guy.
that's okay. But so I believe I read this online somewhere because I did try to prep for this a little bit, but I think I read that this is your first time recording and writing as like a full five-piece band.
Mhm.
So what was that like coming together more
Dude,
collaboratively and
it was
working together?
awesome. Like I am typically such like an obsessive perfectionist, and like that's my alarm for this interview going off. Sorry.
Oh,
I made it.
no worries. That's
Uh,
great. Yeah, we're all here.
uh, like everything before this record, for the most part, like the Saturday split is when we sort of started like being more collaborative or whatever, like opened the door to that. But
Mhm.
everything before that, I had written like very meticulously and obsessively and like gotten the last word on everything. And like it wouldn't be fair to call it like a solo project because like Castle helped so much with the early stuff, and like there's definitely always other people like around and helping write stuff, but like it was definitely like a song wasn't done until I thought it was like totally perfect, and like I thought that was just how I operated, but it this made me realize it was just the only way I'd ever tried to operate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like just like letting the four of them loose on just like Stanley wrote like three or four of these songs completely on her own, like had fully finished demos. Like I wrote the lyrics for everything, but like
Okay,
the
so you're like the main writer.
yeah, but that's
Okay.
like compared to like the view never changes. I wrote everything, like drums, bass,
Yeah.
guitar, the horns, strings, all of
Wow.
it. I that was
That's
my COVID
awesome
period,
though.
like composing that entire album like piece by piece, and like it was really fun, but it was like it drove me nuts, and it was like 2 years of like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
work, and like I'm really proud of it. But like I'm like really proud of this one, and it was just like months of like having a really good time with a bunch of other people, and like the work, like the what feels like the hard part for me is like the easy part for them. Like I'm not a guitarist at all. Like any guitar playing I've ever done in my life is just in service of like being a songwriter, and I don't want to
Hmm.
just like hold a microphone. Like I have to play a little bit of guitar, but that's like all the guitar I've ever played for this band. And like so like on the album I recorded guitar on one full song, and then like another part of another one. Like there are at least 9 songs I don't play any guitar on this record. Like all I had to do was lyrics and then just like be around to like fucking give notes and stuff. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Like and there were so many like our producer Nick, who we started working with since the split, and now we're just like super locked in, like couldn't see ourselves working with anybody else. Like he's just become so like integral to that process of like now I know when like an idea is floating around and like I have the way I think it should go, but like there are 4 people who I know for a fact I like would defer to like 9 times out of 10 on any other musical decision, and like 3 of them disagree with me. I'm like, all right, you guys must be right. Like the math would dictate that like if 3 people say something and one person says, and like in the old days, the other 3 would have been like, yeah, but it's your song, man. Like whatever. But like now I'm like, all right, I guess I'm wrong. And then I like let sit with their thing for and by the next day I'm like so glad that we went their way. Like I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
everything is so much better when there are more people working on it. And like I don't know if that's exactly true for The View Never Changes because of how it started. Like that album was conceived as a like personal project or whatever, but like this album was conceived as like making sure we all felt like we were writing together, and like it was so fun and awesome.
Yeah, well, that's great. So it sounds like everyone kind of has a little bit of their own personal touches to this, and that's great.
Yeah. Like
That is great.
um yeah, exactly. Like Stanley had like sad gimmick, no, not sad gimmick. I'm getting all the names mixed
That
up
one's
because it's
so good, by the
oh, thank you.
way. You're
The
welcome.
other one I always mix up with. Oh no, that is sad gimmick. Yeah, Stanley wrote sad gimmick. Stanley wrote
Okay.
never bothered, and Stanley wrote one other one that she'll hopefully not be mad that I can't remember. But
No, that's okay because I mean, I'm sure you guys have been super busy with like this album rollout and everything. So I totally get like when you have multiple projects going on, sometimes the details just like leave you, especially when you're doing like an interview. But now you should definitely be proud of this entire album. But do you have a song that you're like the most proud of?
making it worse for
Ma
sure.
That is a perfect opening track. It is so
Thank
perfect.
you.
It
And
is
so that is another like that's one more like feather in my cap of like I cared a lot about like having a good opener, and like we all like agreed pretty early that that would be the best opener, but then like still I just like hoped that that came across, and like so like knowing that we like got that right, and then like have this song with just like all these fucking jokes in it. Like I just like I love being like the idea of like a song making somebody laugh is like really exciting to me. And like I think like not to say that like anybody can write devastating emo lyrics, because like like lyrics still need to be good to be like good.
right.
But I think like Cheek Face is like the only band I can think of making just funny music right now. And like I just like I'm
Yes.
so proud of just having like a funny song. Like I just love that one.
Yeah, it is. It definitely made me laugh. I remember when I got
Oh, and
this
hummus
news.
vacuum. I'm sorry, I just didn't
Oh,
want. I almost
okay, you
fucking
remember the
called some of our
song.
best friends. Yeah, we hummus vacuum makes lots of great, funny music.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry,
Yeah, no, no, that's totally fine. This is again, feel free to say anything anytime.
you were saying.
Oh yeah, I was saying when I was contacted about this interview and I went to listen to the album and everything, I heard Making It Worse, the title track. Well, not the title track, opening track. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna interview this band. Like they are going somewhere. So that is a great one to hear that you're proud of and
And that was
definitely
the first
deserve.
demo from like the first session where we all like we had never even gotten together to like try writing as a band. Like the five of us had never even been in a room to like practice all five of us at once. Like it was like the first time like all of our like minds were on one project, and we like got all set up, practice one thing that I had kind of brought, and it just like sucked, and we were all like, what do we do? And then me and Mitch just like left the room for a while, and then within like 15 minutes, Cora and John and Stanley had the entire like that, making it worse. Like they like Cora had that riff, and then they did the verse and the thing, and then like that song came together pretty quick, and then we recorded that demo right away. So then like within like 3 hours, like the first 30 minutes were kind of bunk, and we were like, uh-oh, but then like 3 hours later we have like the demo for worse, and we're like, dude, fuck yes. Like I don't know, I
Yes.
always the song I'm just gonna be the most excited about, like this thing.
Yeah, don't you just love as a creative, like when things like that just come together, like kind of almost, I don't want to say like instantly, but I guess like naturally, and it just
Naturally is a great way to put it. Yeah,
naturally,
it's so
yes.
exciting.
Well, and then I kind of want to touch back on what you said about bands making funny music and like the way you guys incorporate humor into some of your lyrics. Is that something that you feel like just kind of comes naturally to you? Is that just kind of like your true personality coming through, or was it something that like you saw other bands doing it and you were like, that's what I want to do, or was it like a little bit of both?
It's definitely a little bit of both. Like I I like where it very first started for me was I like the Summerbruise origin story. I had never tried to write lyrics before, and I'd never tried to write a song before because I had only really like grown up like in high school when I started playing guitar. I was like learning like these Elliott Smith songs that were like really hard
Mhm.
to sing and play, and like when you try to sing like Elliott Smith, you sound like shit. So I was like, all right, I can't really sing, and like guitar's really hard, so like I'll never be. I'll just this is a hobby, that's fine. But then in like late college, a friend of mine showed me the front bottoms, and I was like, oh, hold on, like I can sing like that, and I
Okay.
can. He only got fucking four strings on his shit. Like, like I didn't know that like you could just do that. Like I could write songs like that, but I still didn't like. That was just in the back. Like I didn't really like have that conscious thought, but like the I was drunk one night, and I was processing some difficult emotions over a breakup because I was
Okay, yes.
whatever, a young man, and
It's
I was
a canon event.
yes, yeah.
That is a canon event.
And the long and short of it is I tried to write a stand-up comedy bit as like a creative outlet. Like I at that point in my life thought I would make a better comedian than just like I didn't even consider writing a song.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm gonna like write down some like funny observations about this and like see how like maybe this will be how I like deal with this. I'll do a funny
Hmm.
comedy guy. And then the next morning it really wasn't that funny, but it was just like sad. But then I noticed that like some of it rhymed, and I could just play easy chords and like kind of sing it, and then I just turned that into the first Summerbruise song. And like so like the first time I wrote a song like came from like an earnest attempt at writing stand-up comedy. And then I think like there's always been like that's the best way I feel like I can communicate like with my own like voice. Like it's the only way I know how to like not like stand out like it's like it's some sort of intentional gimmick, but like if I tried to not, I would have to try to not be funny, and then I
Yeah.
don't know what it would even sound like if I
Yeah.
like if I and like maybe that'd be like a good experiment, I guess, or like a a
Yeah.
writing
Maybe.
exercise. But like yeah, it's definitely like. But then like the first time I heard Roswell Kid, Castle, our first drummer, showed me Roswell Kid, and it was just like game over. Like they have so many fucking hilarious ass like the
Mm.
song Booger by Roswell Kid, like just changed my life. Like I don't know. I just like I love it. like because it's not just like like I love Weird Al, but like
Oh yeah.
Booger is like an emotionally devastating song as well, and
Hmm.
it's literally about a booger. So like I don't know, I just
Yeah.
like just love the idea of like funny emo being like a niche that like felt pretty wide open and something I would not have to like change like fake or anything. Like I
Right. Yeah. Well, that shows, I think. You guys definitely nail that. Definitely nail
Thanks.
that.
And everyone like we're all goofs too. Like there's not like the one token like serious kid in the band. Like
Yeah.
everybody is just like always trying to like riff on whatever the last thing
Hmm.
somebody said was. Like it's we're all big time goofs,
You
which I think
guys
helps
sound
because
fun.
I'm like kind of enabled to like if I think something's too stupid to suggest, like I'm still gonna say it. And then if three of them are like, no, dude, you should do it, then we do it. And then like something that I've like almost didn't do is gonna be on the record. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You guys sound like the funnest band ever. Like,
We have fun.
yeah, so now this question. People going into Infinity Guise on like their first listen, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to like? What should they know going into this album?
It's pretty dense lyrically. I don't know, like so I don't not
Yeah,
everyone's like lyric people.
I
I don't
am. I
know
am
about
a lyric
wording.
person.
Maybe this should be more of a sales pitch than like a caveat, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Why is that? That shouldn't be a hard question. It sounds
No,
so simple.
I mean that's okay. I again, it's like I say,
Like,
sometimes when you're like on an interview or whatever, everything just like leaves. I understand that, but you said dense and kind of lyric heavy, I guess in terms of I guess some of the topics and that definitely. But that's what
yeah, I
I
guess
think
a
is
couple
so
trigger warnings couldn't hurt. That's
maybe,
as far as
but
yeah.
that's what I think is great about it. It's kind of like a two in one. You can make you kind of want to, cry 1 second, but then there's like a funny lyric in the next song, and you're just you just feel both emotions, and I think that is great. I think when you make people feel stuff like that, that's what makes a record stick with you. At least I think that's how it goes for me. Like the records I remember the most are the ones that make me feel a strong emotion, whether it's like humor or
Sure.
sadness. Really, sadness is the one.
And yeah, I like I yeah, yeah, I couldn't say I was literally just about to rephrase everything you said. I
Oh,
couldn't have said it better myself.
no, you're good. So, I want to talk to you about one specific song, and it's my personal favorite so far, and that is Bottle Episode. I
Oh, right
think
on.
that, yeah, I think that honestly, like anyone that has a little,
That's the other one
go
Stanley wrote.
ahead.
You
Bottle
made me remember.
Episode.
That's the third one I couldn't remember, but go ahead. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so it was Bottle Episode and
Sad gimmick and never
Sad
bothered
Gimmick and
for
Never
the
Bothered.
third one.
Okay. That's Stanley's credit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, Bottle Episode though. I was saying that I feel like anyone who has kind of a creative dream could definitely relate to those lyrics, whether you're, it's a musician, artist, just anything creative, you can, I feel like those lyrics would hit home. So, who, what was it like writing that one? I know you said Stanley wrote it, but do you have any stories from like the writing
Yeah,
process of that?
I like that one is I'm really excited to hear that because that was like a I and this was a thought I was kind of trying to gather about that question I beefed earlier with like the
You
ahead
didn't
of
beef
thing,
it.
but like yeah, that I thought that song was gonna be too hyper personal to like be anything. Like
Mm,
this is like so about Mike Newman and like I just don't understand how anyone else could listen to this and like get anything other than like a I don't know like but that's a little harsh but like that was what I thought like might make it those lyrics not like make the cut because they were
okay.
I've had them forever like that was like a big long like there's a bunch of cut stuff from that song but like my my process sort of changes based on like some songs start with like I have one idea and then I'll build out a song around it. Some songs start with like copying pasting different like random things from my notes that I've like just couplets and lines or like blah 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 like it's a lot of different things but sometimes there's like one song idea I have that lives in a note in my phone and then that will just like grow and change over however many months or years or whatever. So that was like a 2 year old, like
Oh.
probably twice as long, like rambling tangent, like a lot of shit that didn't even rhyme. And then when Stanley showed us that, like sort of just like slow meandering kind of thing, I was like, I thought that might be a good time to try something like that. That was one of the first sessions we got together. That was one of the last songs we did when we were like sort of desperate to just get one more. Like we wanted to leave with five or whatever. So Stanley like pulled out that riff, and that was like the only lyrics I like could possibly like sing to a whole song. But then they're like, it kind of works. And then like John ended up really liking it, and we are, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with that one
Yeah.
too. I'm glad it made it. The
Yeah.
single line bedroom door lock, tiny little shirt off, for some reason is like my favorite thing I've ever written. I'm just like so
Yeah.
pleased with that lyric. I
That
don't
is a good line. It is a good line.
know.
And that kind of brings me into this other question, and that it's kind of touching back on where you said you didn't even know if that would make the cut for the album because it was so personal. So like when it comes to like those personal kind of heavier lyrics, I guess how do you balance that kind of vulnerability, but also still, I guess, protecting like emotional boundaries? How do you, how does
Yeah,
that work? Because I mean, you're kind of like bearing your soul to the world, and like, how do
for
you
sure.
do that?
I've always kind of like that's I found I'm like a I'm like a weird guy, and I was a weird kid. But I really didn't have much trouble like making friends or getting along with like popular people or whatever people. Like I wasn't like a bully loner like weird kid. I was
Hmm.
the funny weird kid that like just like made people laugh, so they like didn't mind having me around or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had friends and stuff too, that like that it's not like a sad clown story, but like for me, I just like very early on learning that like making someone laugh by like bearing your soul to someone, like being the first, like I don't know, I think it just like vulnerability has always just been like a useful thing for me, and it's never really done me wrong. Like I don't know. I just
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
feel I'm not a very like private about certain stuff. Like I don't know. Like yeah, it's just. But the one
Yeah.
thing I do like the emotional boundary thing, like not maybe emotional boundary, because like I mean when it's just me, I'm kind of I'll say whatever. But like I
Hmm.
some of our earlier stuff, like there's a couple older songs that are on the cutting room floor that will never leave the cutting room floor because I don't think they would pass this test today. But like there's some, I don't think there's anything I would outright change, but there's some older stuff that kind of rides the line of like me feeling like it's not super fair to represent other real people in a song
Gotcha.
through my, like when I'm like, I mean I know I can like share my perspective or whatever, but then like just knowing that like people will hear this, people will know what I'm talking about, even if it's six people, even if it's like one dude I went to college with who's like, oh, but I don't know, just whatever. Like just being like careful about like not dragging anyone else into anything or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I for like yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, completely. And that makes perfect sense. Um,
Like anytime I use someone's name, I give them like I ask
a
like
heads up
yeah,
or
like we have a song called Rachel that is about my
Mhm.
friend Rachel, and it's like a pretty emotionally vulnerable song, and like tells like it doesn't leave anything out. And I like sent her the song and was like, "Is it okay if we put this song out?" And she's like, "Yeah, I love it." And I was like, "Is it okay if we call it Rachel?" And she's like, "Oh my god, that's awesome." So like, if neither of those, if either of those answers were a no, then like no one would have ever heard that song. Like I do like
Yeah.
care about that stuff.
Yeah, well that is good. I like that. Next I kind of want to go into the tour and promo side of things. I saw where you guys are going on tour this November. That
Finally.
is great. So is this your first tour?
No, we've been on a
Okay.
billion, but this is the longest break from touring we've had in a pretty long time. I think like I
Gotcha.
can even remember.
So like what's it like preparing for a tour? Is it always chaos and everyone's like running around with a million things to do, or
It's
is
kind of
it
my favorite
fun?
part. Yeah, no, I thrive on that. Like I love like I will spend like the full like weekend, like long weekend, 3 4 days before, like getting all of my different like bags and cases and merch organization and suitcase and personal belongings, and like try out all these different packs based on like, because we always have like a different number of people coming, we always have a different vehicle, so like we don't have like a consistent setup, and like we do not have the luxury either like space wise or like executive function wise to just like throw
Mhm.
everything in, so we kind of have to plan, but I kind of like to plan. So like
Yeah, yeah.
I yeah, so for me it looks like a lot of packing the merch and then repacking the merch because I thought of a better way to do it, and then packing my stuff and then repacking my stuff because I thought of a better way to do it, and then having all my stuff
Hmm.
out at once and then putting all my stuff back together. And I just find a lot of like zen in that process, and then
Yeah,
having this like really neat rectangular stack of things ready to go out the door like a day early. So that's what getting ready for
yeah.
dinner looks like for me.
Nice. Do you have a city or a venue that you're most excited for?
I think we're playing Pittsburgh on this tour, which
Oh,
is
okay.
probably it's like I can't even say rapidly becoming. I think it's like fully locked in as just like one of our absolute favorite places to play recently. Like it's recently number one. Like there are a lot of places that have the legacy lead on the scoreboard that might take a while to pass, but like the last like three like surprisingly sick shows we've played have been in Pittsburgh, where like we just shouldn't be surprised anymore. Like yeah, Pittsburgh's awesome. There are like a bunch of people we know out there that are really great, and then a
Okay,
bunch of
that
people we
helps.
don't know like keep showing up to the shows. So it's
That's
awesome.
even better.
Yeah,
And I also do want to say I appreciate you guys not pretending like the East Coast doesn't exist.
wouldn't dream of it.
Because a lot of times I feel like, I'm from South Carolina, so we kind of get completely ignored on like most
Yeah,
artist tours. So I
I won't
appreciate
lie.
you
I think
guys.
this is our first time. Are we playing South Carolina on this? I should know that off the top of my head. I don't
I
either.
think I saw that. I think so.
Yeah, and I think
Which
this is our
is,
first time.
yeah.
So yeah, we
Is
have this
it?
is our first because this is kind of like a southeast sort of situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, we this is our first South Carolina show I think
I
ever.
think you guys
Our first time
are.
back in Florida in a long time.
Then like on the other promotional side of things, um, I kind of want to just have you like explain or just talk about like just how important is it for fans buying physical merch? Like how much does that help you guys?
All of it, yeah. That's the like we are pretty lucky where on the last handful of tours we've been on, our we've been renting vans,
Mhm.
and like typically the money we make just like from the show, like the venue gives you some money at the end of the night, like covers the rental for the day, and most of the gas we used if the drive was normal and the pay was decent, like even that can be sketchy. So like if we don't sell any merch, we at least like can get to every show, but then like
Hmm.
that's all. So like the only money we like make is on
Is
merch.
from merch.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
which we like have a bunch of money invested in obviously too. So like we're
Hmm.
leaving for tour like
Yeah.
500 t-shirts in the hole, and then like yeah. I mean it's not so bad, but it is like that's how it goes.
Yeah. Well, definitely. So, for everyone watching, buy physical merch. That's why I kind of started collecting vinyl because I just wanted to directly support artists. And, I know that it can be costly to try to make it as one. And that's just why I kind of like to spread the word about physical
For
media,
sure.
especially in the space of supporting artists, especially, artists that aren't like, Taylor Swift level or
Right.
something like that. Like they
And even like
need,
yeah, smaller than us. Like if you find yourself at a show and there's a band that says they're from far away and there's no one in the room and you've got $25 you're gonna spend on a sandwich the next day, like
yeah.
please God buy a t-shirt. Like
Yes.
there's no other bands that like really need it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm definitely passionate about that as well. So, let me see. I want to talk to you guys about being signed to Side One Dummy Records. First of all, congratulations, because I
Thank
know
you.
they're like a very legendary label. But what's that like? How did it happen? Was
It's
it like a moment where you were like, "Oh my gosh, like we kind of made it because we have a label now?"
I think that'll be when I get I mean, that one, yes, for sure. That like the very first night we met Phil in LA, he came to our first LA show on our tour with Super American, and we Carpool, who signed to Side One Dummy, and they've been like super good friends of ours for years and years now. Um, had been like in Phil's ear forever about like, oh, you gotta sign Summerbruise, sign Summerbruise, sign Summerbruise. So he brought a couple friends to our show in LA to like vet us basically, and like I didn't know at the time, but like I'm sure he was basically like pretty open to it and just like making sure we weren't shitheads or whatever. But we thought it was like a job interview, so we were just like so
Yeah,
excited
yeah.
to meet Phil and talk to Phil and blah blah blah, and then just like hung out with him and his friends all night and like had the best freaking time, and then like left on like a I definitely want to work with you guys. We'll talk later note. So like that first night, like in the van, was just like we're about to sign a side with dummy. We're about to sign a side with dummy. We're about to sign a side with
You're
dummy.
trying to like process it. Is this real life?
Yeah, and like the limbo between like I mean he said so, but like we shouldn't get our hopes up, but like we probably kind of can, and just like yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah.
every time it got more and more official, we were just getting more and more excited, and it's pretty sick
Yeah, that
and feels
it
so
sounds
great. Like
awesome.
there's no doubt. It's not like some shit ass like they're not up our butts about making TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I don't know,
Oh
feels just
yeah.
like awesome. Like it's such a great label to be on, and yeah, we really are so lucky.
Yeah, so you would say you feel like you have a lot of creative control and that
A
kind of thing.
billion percent. Like there's like no question. Like Phil gets like shaky when like we were trying to ask him for input just because like he's our boy. Like we were sending stuff to the group chat and like, what do you think of this? And like, he'd be like, oh, it should be up to you guys. And I was like, I don't. I was just asking, man. It's fine. Like you're
Yeah.
allowed to give your thoughts on stuff. Like he wouldn't dream of
Well, that's
like
good. That's good
entangling.
because honestly, like with things you read, it feels like that's kind of rare these days that labels aren't kind of like stifling artists and just taking full control. Like I feel like that is definitely a luxury.
I think you have to be on a pretty big one for that to come into play. And at that point, it's kind of a
Hmm.
trade off where like what we hypothetically like I have plenty of faith inside one, but like at like bands of our size and like labels of this size and smaller and like our it's a lot of like high like the heart is there, but then sometimes the money dries up, and sometimes the money dries up
Yeah.
before the bands find out, and then sometimes the bands end up getting the shit end of that. But like
Yeah.
I've never heard a story of a band our size or smaller or whatever getting like stuff from the label about like creative things like that.
Well, that's
But then like
good.
yeah, if you're on like UMG, like the checks are definitely going to clear, but like they're going to
Yeah.
have a lot of hands on the ball when you're in the
Yep.
studio.
Yep, you're gonna be pretty locked down. Just kind of like some little fun questions. Besides Infinity Guys, what is a record that you think everyone should have in their collection? Obviously, Infinity Guys should be in everyone's collection, but besides that, what would you
Welcome
what's
Interstate Managers by Fountains of Wayne.
okay. Oh, that is a good one. Would you say Fountains of Wayne kind of inspired Summerbruise a little bit in a way?
I'd say so. That I had a late game like that was kind of a don't think for too long. It's just a fun question. Just say the first really good like important seminal thing that comes to mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good. I'm happy with that answer, but
Yeah.
like, they're not. That's like they're. When I was a kid, my mom had that CD and she put it on all the time, and it was always like kind of one of my favorites. I think I ended up stealing it from her, and like I'd listen to like Stacy's Mom and like the two other kind of
Mm-hmm.
fast ones on my Walkman, but like I skipped all the boring ones and like
Yeah, the
then
filler, I guess people
revisited
would
as an
say.
adult and was like, this is like where all my favorite bands got their shit. This is where I subconsciously got my shit from like the CD as a kid. Like I like, yeah, it's such a good record. They have a lot of funny songs.
They do. One of the first bands I really like was a big fan of was 5 Seconds of Summer.
Mm.
And they kind of drew a lot of inspiration from like Blink 182.
Oh,
So
sure.
that kind of the way you talk about Fountains of Wayne kind of made me think of that little small connection just in my
Yeah, that's
personal life.
another
So
the
that's
Mark Tom and
awesome.
Travis show. Like just hearing the way they were goofing off on stage, like I think like
Yes.
probably really locked in like the dream of like I could literally like they're getting paid to do that.
Yeah,
Like
to be funny.
fuck college, dude. Like how do I where do I sign up? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they were so iconic. So iconic. But is there anything else that you want to add about Summer Brews, Infinity Guys? Anything you want the people to know?
Not that I can think of.
Well, they should stream the album,
True.
obviously. They should buy
That'd be
a
great.
physical copy of the album if they want to get
You don't
even
mind.
better. And also to follow you guys. What's
Oh,
your
sure, yeah.
social
We're a Summer
handles?
Brew 69 on wherever you follow people on stuff.
So on everything.
On everything.
On everything. I'll be sure to put something like that in there. Thank you so much, Mike. It
Yeah.
was awesome
Thank you so
talking to
much.
you. Summerbruise, I'm definitely a fan and just can't wait to see what else you guys come out with. And yeah, I feel like you guys are going to go far.
Oh, thanks. Hope so.
Thank you so
Hope to
much.
you proud.
Yes,
Great to meet you.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.